had a recent conversation with college students, and here are a few takeaways that I had from that conversation.
Hi, I'm Nana Kay. I am the creator, the author, the writer, designer of the Resonant Voice Collection. It's a collection I officially started as of this year, but it took a couple years before that to really get it off the ground. I have published some essays through the collection. I also have my recent book publication, a poetry book publication, currently working on a few more poetry books as well as fiction to add on to the collection and items outside of that collection. But yeah, it's been an interesting year this year with the Resonant Voice Collection. And I just wanted to talk about something that I encountered this year while promoting my new book, Shades Drawn Back. It really kind of got me thinking about how important the creative world is and just bringing us closer to the deeper parts of ourselves and to bring a lot more context and understanding around social conversations that are happening today. I remember having this conversation with college undergrads. I was actually asked one question. It was a great conversation, by the way, very engaging. I think both me and them took a lot away from that conversation. But one of the questions that I was asked was what my thoughts were on how important poetry, spoken word would be down the road. And I revised that question a little bit to mean more just anything seen within the creative endeavor, whether that was writing, art, music, performance, so on and so forth. I remember just letting them know how I got started in writing. I don't know if there's actually anyone like I started on this day and this year. No, there's nothing like that. But I remember really getting into writing in middle school and, kind of growing up in the household environment that I did. I spent most of my time by myself. So for all intents and purposes, I was in my mind mostly, like, imagining different things. They developed into different stories, different questions. And I think that's really where it began. And I was thinking how that process was so pivotal for me growing up, having gone through what I went through. It allowed me to, I think, create a better relationship with myself, a better understanding about my emotions, my thought processes, how I wanted to develop. And I in this conversation with these college undergrads, I talked about how right now we are talking a lot about mental health and mental well-being. I've had my own journey, battles and trials and tribulations to better understand my relationship with my own mental well-being. And through it all, I've come to really understand the relationship between mind, body, and spirit is this. I see the mental or the psyche as being this space where body meets spirit. So if there's a lot of things going on in this space, it can disrupt that connection between body and spirit. And that's where issues start to arise, whether it's you feel disconnected from yourself, feel like there's just a lot going on and you don't really feel that sense of alignment. So that is what I've come to understand, that relationship, mind, body, and spirit, how it all comes together. And I was thinking about just my journey and how valuable having that creative space to better express my thoughts, understand myself was so key for me. And I think that is truly an avenue, a very strong avenue for us all to be able to utilize in order to improve our mental well-being, exploring the creative space. And I know there will be people who will say, oh, well, I'm not that creative. And honestly, creativity is not something that you don't study for it. It's not going to show up on a test. You just be free. What ever comes to your mind to create, put it down on paper or or whatever have you. If your creative mind is arranging flowers, I mean, that's a creative endeavor, then by all means go and arrange flowers. I think we think that it has to be some grand gesture in order to be deemed as creative. And no, it can be very simple. And very much integrated within our lifestyle. Going along with that, too, I think also the reason why people have kind of become so regimented when it comes to creativity is because of the kind of world that we've come to grow up in. Unfortunately, the society that or the state that we're in now, and quite frankly, this has been happening for years, but it doesn't really promote developing your own type of thinking, but more so going with the flow of thinking that's been engineered to have us buy into a system, a product, or an institution. And I've been saying this back in 2020, I believe. I remember having these conversations very early on with people saying, like, it really feels like something is in the air. It feels like we're at some sort of crossroads period of enlightenment as a society. Again, I think just what happened in 2020, 2019 and 2020, got us to reassess what we truly want in this one fleeting life. It got us to wake up in many ways to what is it that we really want to pursue that makes this life meaningful? Very important questions to have. And why am I talking about all this? Because I believe exploring the creative world, whatever that looks like for you, is kind of key to answering a lot of those questions. One thing about the creative world that I found to be so freeing is just the fact that there's no limitations to it. It's really just an exploration of your imagination, an exploration of mindset, and really just dreaming what others would deem like impossible, right? And I know that sounds so idealistic and all that, but it's true. It's really the place where we can truly be free to be who we are. And I think there is something very empowering in that. So, to answer this lovely question, I received, like, how important this will all be in the future. I pretty much summed it up as yes, it'll be very, very important, even more so moving forward, especially as we're seeing a lot of these questions on what it means to live a meaningful life are really coming to the surface. What does being human really mean? What does preserving our humanity really mean? I believe all those questions are answered in that creative space. And I believe it's creatives, it's our willingness to explore our own creativity that will be very key in that process.